Hey, best friends, I'm Claire.
I'm Yana.
And I'm Bree.
Welcome to
My Best Friend's Book Club with a guest edition.
We're so excited to have Bree with us. She is an expert smut ghostwriter and a connoisseur of this genre. Bree have agreed to call her Bree to continue to conceal her identity in her writing. It's been a sort of secret collaboration. Bree actually read Lights Out with us, and we are going to talk about Lights Out by Vanessa Allen. But we're also going to talk about just the genre in general and Bree's wealth of knowledge in the space. Bree, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience in ghostwriting smut and generally your love for this topic?
Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm a longtime listener, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. I mean, it was really fun to read alongside with you guys, although I did skip ahead. Just couldn't help myself. But a little bit about me. I am a very long time smut reader, Wattpad, AO3, books on books on books, and within the last year and a half, a ghost smut writer.
Wow, impressive.
So really excited to get to be here and talk about this more than just blabbing to my friends when they don't really want to listen to me talk about my smut.
You know, there's been such a surge in this topic in the book world, right? Like smut literature and romantasy is really huge right now. Just curious to hear, like, what's your take on this? Why do you see this phenomenon being a thing right now?
That's a great question. I think that not to get all political, but I do think there is like an increased amount of like women being like more confident in their sexuality, wanting to explore it, wanting to take control of, you know, their sexual desires and read about it and write about it and fantasize about it outside of just their own heads. I think we've seen a lot recently in society, you know, when women are allowed to be economic contributors, like they take up a big amount of space. I mean, Barbie, right? People are like, oh, it's just a stupid movie. It's about Barbie, but it was huge. Like it broke records. And I think women have a lot they want to read and a lot they want to say and a lot they want to watch.
I agree. Like one of the reasons why I really enjoy romantasy is I don't date anymore, but I still enjoy like romance in my own ways. And like these men in these books are like really fun. And the experience of it is fun to read for me, but not to experience anymore because I feel like dating is so bad. That's my opinion, everyone's. So, Bree, as a pro in this space, I'm sure you've written a lot of sentences that have to do with describing a throbbing member. How do you go about not repeating yourself in the writing process when there's just not very many words to describe these sorts of things?
I think that's a great question. I think there's a couple different layers to writing a successful smut scene. I think the first is you really have to be in the mood to do it. Like this isn't like I have my deadline, I got to get it done. It's like you write the other parts of the book as your, you know, your work, your homework assignment, your chore. But the smut scenes, you have to be in the right mood to write it, or else there's like, that's just like pure creativity and passion. You got to be in the mood in order to write that, I think. I do have a word bank of phrases that I will collect from other books that I read that I'm like, okay, I like that. And I'll store that.
That's probably a sacred stored bank of words you have, eh? Hidden
it's like
on the
like
deepest part of your computer. That's funny. Good one. That's what the folder's labeled.
Bree Spank Bank. But also I think that in some books, like in Lights Out, they write it from different perspectives. So you can focus on different things at a time. I also think, you know, we've all had the experience of reading a book and reading a particular scene and being like, oh my God, this is like the cringiest, cheesiest thing ever. But until you're on your 16th adjective to describe a throbbing dick, you don't know how hard it is.
Literally.
I'm going to put that in the spank bank. How hard it is.
What do you feel is one of the most overused trope in smut right now? It's too expected. We've had enough.
I mean, I think that there is an overwhelming level of masculinity present in these books. And I actually am really excited to talk about Lights Out with you guys because I feel like this really breaks the mold in a way that I like. And I feel like it's almost, I read this in a New York Times article somewhere, the rise of conservatism it's on the rise again, and like women playing into these like, I make sourdough bread homemade and I don't buy milk at the store. And
Yana loves making sourdough bread.
Oh, I love a sourdough bread. No, but I feel like there's this rise in conservatism. Sometimes I wonder if it's linked to these themes in smut writings of like a super masculine male who takes care of everything and buckles you into your seat like you're a child and et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like I don't know if that's necessarily a trope, like a enemies to lovers would be, but that's actually what got me into writing smut. Like that was what first got me into it, is just like the way that these women are depicted as like helpless creatures that have just miraculously been able to survive up until meeting this man. And, I do think there is like a certain level of sexy to that. Like that's fun. I also feel like the motorcycle club trope is a little bit overdone. I'm like, I get it. I can't imagine someone in a short sleeve leather vest that wouldn't turn me on.
He's a bad boy,
he's a
like
bad
Sons
boy.
of Anarchy.
Yes,
like,
he's had to do things that your virgin brain can't even think about.
I love it.
You know what's interesting though, and the first thing you said is when Yana and I were looking through our reviews for the book for the final episode, Yana, you came across one where this woman very blatantly was like, I'm a conservative woman, and so I feel you need to know this about me because of what you were just saying, Bree, of how that's sort of the perception or feeling or way of being. I don't want to speak for conservative people.
We wouldn't know how.
She identified herself in this review. Her whole point of saying that was like, because of what you're saying, Bree. All right, Bree, we want to play a little game with you. We're going to tell you some totally unsexy sentences, and we want you to rewrite those in your ghostwriter voice. It's very on the spot, so...
How fun.
We'll see how this goes. Okay, there's 3. Number 1, I need to go to the DMV to renew my registration.
I pulled my pulsing member out of her tight heat and groaned. Fuck. I need to go to the DMV to get my registration renewed.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad we're doing this. All right, number 2.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with another.
Okay. I forgot to take the chicken out of the freezer.
Oh, easy. Fuck, I say, slamming the freezer door shut. I forgot to take the chicken out of the freezer. I turn to my boyfriend. He gets a devilish smile on his face, walks towards me and drops to his knees. I guess you'll just have to be my dinner tonight then.
Oh.
Bam.
Oh my God. Okay. I would read books, girl.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Last one. The Wi-Fi is down. I have to restart the router.
Okay. This one. Easy. It's in the context. I'm in a meeting. My Wi-Fi cuts. My meeting goes out. I sigh, yelling to my boyfriend for the 5th time this week. The Wi-Fi's down again. I need you to reset the router. He comes running in, resets. He says it's going to take 4 minutes to reboot. How quickly do you think you can come?
Oh my God, it's wonderful. Thank you so much, Bree. That was really great. Claire, do you want to move into, should we go to lights out questions?
Yeah, let's talk about Lights Out. First off,
I'm so ready.
Thanks for reading it with us. We were really excited when you agreed to read this with us so that we could eventually do this interview here.
I have been wanting to read I've read some of her other books, but I hadn't read this series yet, so I was excited.
Awesome. Oh, cool. Before we get into this section, we're going to say that this content involves spoilers. So if you haven't read Lights Out, there's going to be spoilers. So do what you need to do. Yeah.
So starting off, Josh, he is the son of a serial killer and he films mask thirst traps for social media. He also breaks into Allie's home. So in your expert opinion, at what point does stalking officially become flirting in the dark romance world?
I think there has to be a cat and mouse game, right? Where like she does want it and she does find it hot because she wants to be wanted so much. And like, not to spoil the sequel or anything, but there's often an element of, the girl has dated these like flimsy guys who are kind of whatever and didn't care about her. And it's really hot for her to have a guy who's like all in on her and just wants her. Like that's a very like sexy feeling to be wanted that intensely. I think that's part of it. And then I think that Vanessa does this really well in the book where she's aware of what's happening and she makes Josh very vocally and obviously like, she's aware she's being watched. And Josh is like, here, I'm sending you things to protect your home better. Like I'm sending you a device where you can catch if, the computer's watching you or if there's a tracking device in you, right? Like, I think if he didn't do that to some degree, like watching her on the computer, I think that a lot of the female readers may potentially have been like, yeah, that's creepy. That's a little bit too far, even in a fantasy book. But him like very vocally having boundaries about turning the camera off when she starts touching herself and stuff, I think is what allows it to stay hot and not rapey.
Yeah, because there's like a choice in that moment. Probably helps that Josh is like described as very hot also,
Yeah, and she wanted him in the beginning. She wanted him first.
Yeah. And he's
She's
described
asking for it.
Yeah. And he's described as like a bad boy.
Yeah.
He's like, so
his father's a serial killer.
Yeah, the Ken doll killers, not to make sure we don't know he's not beautiful like his father. And then it's like he's got all these tattoos and all these muscles but he stalks too, and you're like, okay, maybe that's all right. So.
It's kind of hot. He just does it because he really likes her.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we probably should have asked you at the start, but like, what was your overall feeling
so many thoughts on this book. I think this book does a really wonderful job at breaking the mold of like a very typical smut book in which the woman is typically portrayed as, maybe a little bit sassy, like at best, but is still willing to immediately back down to a man. That's like a defining feature in basically any smut book is like at the end of the day, she's pretty much ready to like give up a level of freedom, a level of independence to a man, whether that be, no, you're right, like it is dangerous for me to like go out to the clubs or anything like that. I think that within reason, her reaction to realize that he's been in her apartment is like a pretty reasonable reaction. You know what I mean? Like realistic to how I think a lot of us would feel. Obviously not, because she kind of goes along with it and likes it. I think that Vanessa does a really fun job of also not just making Josh one-dimensional. I also think that men in these books are really one-dimensional. They are just like normal guys, but then all of a sudden they have this like crushing obsession with this woman despite being like a huge player. And it's like, where did this come from? Like, that's not realistic at all. But we also get to see Josh be like fun and silly and like talk about the cat like it's his son versus being this like hyper masculine, like I am alpha all the time. Like, I'm not fun. You know what I mean? Because, when you read those books, you're like, why does this girl like him other than the physical attraction? Like he doesn't have a personality. He's not fun to be around. Like I wouldn't want to like go out on a double date with him and like laugh with my friends. But I think with Josh, he's a lot more approachable and fun to be around. I'm not going to give a single spoiler for the second book, but I like the second book a lot more than I like the first book. I will say I listened to the second book as an audio and I read this book, and this is one of the first audiobooks I've ever listened to. So, my opinion of the book may be skewed by that. But the first book, I feel like, what makes part of like a smut book is so hot is the cat and mouse game of her resisting him and him chasing after. But I feel like halfway through the book, they kind of just like give in to each other and they're together. And then now all of a sudden they're covering up a murder together. Yeah. And for me, like while reading that, I was like, what's happening? Like I remember talking to my fiance, I was like, this should have been like a sequel. Like the book should have ended. And then this should be like a little spin-off book about how they like solved a murder together, like a spin-off series. Like, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't personally like how halfway through the book, it was like kind of like we wrapped up the Josh and Allie cat and mouse game. And then it was like they were like a team working together to cover up this murder. I didn't necessarily like hate like that they did that. I just felt like, okay, we like wrapped up the fun, sexy romance. And now this is just like a murder mystery thriller.
It is one of the things that Claire and I had talked about. And a lot of the reviews also mentioned. It just felt like things were just happening all the time. Really quickly would wrap up, a new thing started. And it did kind of seem unhinged a little bit.
And we read a lot of reviews on that part specifically, where that was the moment where people are like, I don't know, this kind of like took a turn that I didn't want it to. And that sort of impacts your overall rating of the book, which we'll get into at the end. We want to hear your overall rating at the end of this conversation. But for me too, like the plot twist, I mean, I've said it many times, but like I just wanted to play cat and mouse for like the entire book. And then I wanted them to have like a big sex scene at the end. And the whole like, you know, we accidentally murdered someone and we have to go hide the body, and then the whole mob thing, like it just didn't. I didn't want it. It's like you said, I didn't hate it, but I just didn't want it.
I agree. I do feel like it was almost kind of an ick when he died by oopsie doopsie. You know, these men are typically portrayed as like alpha men who are always in control, taking care of business, taking care of their woman. And he dies because they duct tape him a little bit too tight and he can't breathe. I'm like, that's kind of icky. You know, I'm like, okay.
That's not sexy.
No, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is a man who's going to like fight for me and take care of me. I'm like, this is a man yeah. I'm like, it's giving, I forgot to take my kid to the doctor. It's giving, I don't actually know how to handle business.
I don't know. I don't know if Josh could have killed someone. I feel like it wouldn't have worked because
it didn't work this way really either, though.
Yeah, I think we just didn't need to do this. Can we talk about Fred the cat? He's like a fan fave. I liked Fred the cat. We're just curious.
I thought Fred was hilarious. Another classic trope. The cat doesn't like anyone, but just has the vibe that, you know, Josh is a great guy. I do think it's actually hilarious how Josh acts like he's Fred's dad. I think that's really funny. I think that is a really fun play of like, oh, I can see your personality. I can see why, other than sexual chemistry, why Allie would like you. Like, you're fun and you're silly and like, you can have a conversation and not just be like, I think about sex and protecting my woman all the time.
Well, that's funny because Yana had the adverse reaction where she was like, don't claim you're the father
dare talk about my child like that.
I personally laughed so hard when he came in with the voice modulator and was like, Daddy needs a minute with mommy. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then he like picks up Fred and they like take him out of the room, which is what we wanted to ask you. In your ghostwriting, when there's pets involved, is that sort of like a typical thing where you're like, hey, the pet needs to go outside of the room while these two really do their exploratory, inventive spice?
Yeah, I personally think that the pets do need to be out of the room, but I don't like having that in the book. I feel like that it like breaks the fourth wall almost, and it like takes away from the sexiness of it. I prefer when it's like, you know, 2 pages earlier, they let the dog outside. And so like in the back of your mind, you know, the dog's not there, but it doesn't have to be addressed in the moment. I think that kills the vibe a little.
Professionally speaking, when we think about the whole mask thing, why are we all so feral for a man whose face we cannot see? Is it just because we project like our own perfect man onto it? Or are we just all so collectively broken?
Can I tell you my true, honest opinion it's gonna scare you?
I'm already scared. I lived my life terrified.
You're pretty scary, Bree.
I didn't think it was hot.
I don't know
if it's not my own experiences, but like my own experiences coming into play. But every time I pictured it, I was like, I don't know. I thought it was so cringy. I totally get the whole, I don't want to show my face for privacy.
I liked it. I didn't even know what mask thirst traps were. And then I put a call out to social media and I was like, what are these? Like somebody sent me some stuff. And then a bunch of people did. Thank you. I'm still very grateful. And I was like, okay, like, I'm not sure this is for me. Like, I'm probably not going to go down that rabbit hole again in my life. I don't think so. We'll see. But I was like, okay.
We'll see how it goes in the next year. I was
like, okay, I could see why people would find this attractive and intriguing, and there's like a kink world around it. So I kind of got it, but I don't know if I was like, is it so deep where it's like we're feral for these men? No, actually, I feel like there is something interesting about like we can't see him. He's mysterious. And he's got all these tattoos, and he's shiny, and he's dark.
Shiny?
He's like a bad boy. Yeah, they often like oil their skin, so they're like shiny.
You see, to me,
I went in deep.
I'm like, be a man. You covering yourself in oil so you can be glittery?
I like
What's going on here?
Edward from Twilight. People like him too. He's shiny.
As if you could outrun me. He was the original stalker alpha male.
That's true, actually. Throwback to Twilight and Edward. All right, we got 2 more questions for you, Bree, on Lights Out. Recently, we learned that Lights Out is going to make it to the screen. Pretty excited about this.
So, no.
Yeah. A trailer came out. Claire will send it to you later.
I'll send it to you.
No
It's going to happen. Shit. Yeah, being an expert in this space, if you could give the producers one piece of advice to make this a successful book-to-screen translation, what would you say? You know, it is a tricky thing. The books never really translate very well to the big screen.
I would have 2 pieces of advice. One, don't cut the sex scenes. Don't water them down. We've seen what Jacob Tyranny can do on Heated Rivalry, and my expectations are high. I don't want to get some bullshit about how, I get that these are a little bit more dark. I don't want to get some bullshit about how, this wasn't appropriate for the screen. If it's not appropriate for the screen, then don't bother putting it into a TV show. Like that's what the readers are here for. They're not here for the fucking mafia scene. They're here for the sex. So don't water that down. And 2, my advice for the filming would be, I think you need to be really careful in how you portray Josh as both this like fun guy who, you'd bring around your friends and they'd be like, oh my gosh, he's so fun to be around. But also this like sexy alpha man. I think the reason that so many times these guys are one-dimensional in smut books is because it's hard for them to be both. It's hard to be respected as an alpha, but also viewed as a friend. And so I'm going to be really interested to see how the director and the producers play Josh's character.
Love it.
That feels like good advice. Final question.
I don't give advice if it's not bad.
You are an expert ghostwriter and connoisseur. So final question. Yana.
Out of 5 stars. What is your overall rating of Navessa Allen's Lights Out and why?
I'm going to have to give this 2 different ratings. I'm going to have to qualify it. The murder mystery turn that we took halfway through really, really brought it down for me. But I really honestly love it. I love this book. I love it for what it is within its own category of being like a smut book. I think that both of the characters feel like they're realistic people. They're not one-dimensional. They have personalities. Allie has independence. Like she stands up to her uncle. Josh is funny. He's cool. He's nice. He's protective. He's great. He's easy to get along with. I think the sex scenes are really, really fun. I think they're spicy. I think they delve into stuff that a lot of other smut books don't. It's like when it comes down to it, it's pretty basic sex. You know what I mean? It's nothing too crazy. It's blowjobs, eating out, and P&V. Like it's nothing crazy. Nothing that's going to make you go, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that.
Right. Did he stab a knife down on the bed?
When's the last time you wrote the handle?
Yeah. Haven't.
And
never will.
Don't want to.
For what... I think for within the category of it being a smut book, I'd give it 5 stars. Within what it is, like when it became somehow a murder mystery, I'd knock it down to 3.5. maybe 4.
Okay, you're a little bit more generous than us, I think, though.
Yeah, we were like that too. I think that's the main thing that knocked it down for us, and like for all the reviews we read, was just like that whole mob murder mystery.
Where'd it come out? Like,
yeah, I didn't want it. I didn't want it.
Well, because it's a dark romance, so I thought it was going to be more like dark because of just the two of them, but it was also now dark because of all these other people involved.
Yeah, because murder.
I really don't know.
Murder.
I really don't know why she did that because, you know, I feel like when you read a book like that, you're like, okay, like that's the author's thing. Is she wants to explore like a murder. She wants this to be like mystery, you know, like that's like her trope as an author. But that's not what you see in her other books. Like this is just out of like left field. Like I don't know where this came from. This isn't like her style of writing. And I wish she hadn't have done it.
Me too. Sorry, Navessa. We still love you.
Oh, Vanessa, this was incredible. This was like, I immediately went and bought every other book that you've ever written, and I'm obsessed with them. Like, I've read almost all of her books at this point.
Well, so you're going to get...
I think it's incredible.
You're going to get her next book, then.
I am counting down the days. I was listening to the preview on the audiobook. Also, Claire, if you said you're reading the second one, I highly recommend the audiobook.
You know, everyone keeps saying that to me on social media, too. They're like, these are really good audiobooks because of, like, the voice acting. Okay.
So, Bree, we are going to text you a little section out of the Lights Out book, and we are going to ask that you read it. It's something you didn't know you were going to do with us today, but you're going to read it pretending you're auditioning to be the audiobook voice. So are you ready? I'm going to text it your way.
Ooh. Okay.
This is
getting to do a little bit of everything today.
Yeah, this is going to wrap up
Oh my God.
Did you receive the text?
This is going to wrap up our lights out conversation. If you don't mind indulging us, Bree. You don't have to do it if you're uncomfortable.
Oh, I will. This is so ridiculous. This is so silly. No, I'll do it. I can't look at you guys, though. Okay. Oh, fuck, that felt good. He did it again, pushing the plug deeper as my muscles loosened from the pleasure. Once the widest part of it was in, the rest was easier to take. And before I knew it, the toy was fully seated. He lifted his thumb away, and I left both too full and too empty at the same time. My pussy was still contracting, longing to be filled, and I could feel the plug every time my inner muscles spasmed. He lifted something else off the mattress and held it up for me to see. It was a small plastic square, almost like a remote of some kind. A sharp click was all the warning I had before the plug in my ass started vibrating.
It was so
Thank
good.
You, Bree.
Thank you so much, Bree.
Thank you so much, Bree. We'll send that into Audible and see if they'll take you as one of their voice actors for the third book.
I'm actually about to quit my job, so I'm going to need something else.
All right. The final thing we just want to do with you, we do with our guests. We like to do a quick little lightning round where we just ask you like this or that, and you have to answer really quickly. So here we go. Lightning round. Woken up with a butt plug or ride a knife?
Ride a knife.
Read aloud to your dad or have him read it to you in a completely neutral voice?
I don't think my dad knows how to read, so that.
Feral energy or gentle domination?
Feral energy.
Enemies to lovers or friends to lovers?
Enemies to lovers. Easy.
The slow glide or the hard slam?
Hard slam.
Megalodon dick or Megalodon vagina?
Megalodon dick.
That's all we have for you, Bree. Bree, thank you so much for joining us and talking about all of your expertise, your ghostwriting, your thoughts on Lights Out. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to watching the show and maybe having you back on the podcast with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed all of our little bits. I felt like I was on Weekend Update on SNL.
Oh my gosh, that is a huge compliment. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I've always said they're like brothers to me, and you guys are like sisters to me.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much for breaking the news and telling me this is going to be on screen.
I can't wait to hear what you think.
Friends, I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Bree. Unfortunately, we can't reveal her identity, but I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you don't know about us or you're new to My Best Friend's Book Club, we're a place for non-readers because we summarize books for you, and we're a place for readers. You can read along with us via our reader calendar, which is pinned to our Instagram and our TikTok as well. We're also a non-traditional book club podcast because we're more humor and roast-based than sort of your literary conversations. So follow us on your favorite podcast streaming platform. The next book we're going to read is Sociopath, a memoir. Grab your copy if you want to read with us, or tune in if you are just a listener, which is great too. And tap that 5-star because it's a nice thing to do for people who are new at podcasting. And friends, we just love reading. We love stories and we like talking about it. So that's why we do this podcast. So if nothing else, remember,
keep on reading.